Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 25 of Empowered Heart. We're going to talk about how to take your power back from societal programming today.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, First, let's talk about these energies. Today is the first day of Virgo season, and I feel extremely flat, although I did go
Mm.
for a 6.4 kilometer hike this morning, so that could have
Yep.
done it. It was up a ski, like it was a ski hill, for it was actually. Um,
That'll take it out of you.
I'm like but it just feels weird. Like you and I are normally like very much in our heads, but in like a good way. Like
Mm-hmm.
we are connected to the astral all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
today I feel very connected to Earth. And yes, Virgo is an Earth sign, but like I don't like this. Like this is like here we are, another change, and I'm resisting.
Well, it kind of feels like, was it like 2 days ago? I was also on a walk and I was like, is my soul in my body? Like I felt like I was floating like this.
Yeah.
And today it's just like, oh yeah, we are heavy.
Yes,
We are like anchored.
we are anchored.
We're
So,
fully anchored.
so anchored to the point where
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no thought. There's just dull. It's just like nothing.
It's just like
Oh,
very 3D, like you said.
yeah,
Human. It's a human experience.
I
I
like it.
would like the universe to just turn the energy down about 15 notches. Like that to me would be like, okay, I can handle this because the earth's energy right now is just shooting up into the ethers and I am so nauseous. Even though I'm grounded, like my energy is grounded,
Mhm.
my solar plexus feels like it's gonna shoot off, just shoot out.
What does that feel like?
Ugh. I see it as like, you know how your chakras spin?
Mhm.
Like your chakras are like they spin. My solar plexus feels like it's going like Mach 50.
Oh,
That's what it feels like. And it's just like this influx of energy right in the center of my body.
okay.
It's intense.
Hmm. Definitely
So,
don't have that. I would say my
yeah.
brain is Mach 50. Like
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
overthinking, but nothing else.
My brain feels pretty spacey today. Like there's nothing happening really.
Yeah, it's
Like
weird.
it's pretty peaceful, which is a nice place to be.
But
So it's
there's like no spark. There's no like, wow, like with Leo
yeah.
season was so for me intense as I was not prepared for that, but I think it maybe wasn't. I mean, after pondering, Leo season is connected to the heart. So Leo's connected to the heart, right? And my heart had to grieve a lot. I don't even know if I'm done grieving. I'm just gonna let whatever happens, happens. But so I wasn't prepared for that intense grief, but it makes sense because it's heart energy, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
like get shit done energy, but it's like,
You don't want to.
no, it's like, okay. Well, but it's like I'm planning. It's like, okay, I'm gonna record a transmission today, and I'm gonna do it from like a place of I'd like to just get it done rather than like, I'm so inspired.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's more of like a forward action
Hmm.
masculine than like a feminine masculine
Yeah,
energy.
yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. I don't feel super creative today. Yesterday I had a lot of creative flow, but today just feels to me like a very human experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, just very like let's, stimulate our senses and, do human things like watch movies and
Yeah.
go shopping,
Yeah.
drink coffee. Yeah,
Well, I'm
which
drinking
is
coffee.
great.
So, okay. So I was a guest on a podcast yesterday, and we actually got into this topic a little bit, which is kind of cool because you and I had already talked about this. But societal programming, like, oh man,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
it is running our minds our human experience without us even knowing it,
Hmm.
right? Like when we're born, we don't know about it. We're just born
Hmm.
and we're just here and we're just present and we're just doing it, the thing. And then we grow up, slowly grow up, and it's like our parents' programming gets put down, gets like infused into us,
Hmm.
our life. And this is, we could talk about the subconscious mind here. It's like, and it's either we take it on or we reject it. It's like that's a yes or that's a no. But regardless, it's still being indoctrinated into us, right?
Yeah.
Then there's preschool, then there's kindergarten, then there's school. Like this is
Hmm.
how you do things. So when you're thinking about societal programming, to me, it means like this is how you're supposed to live, you know?
Okay. Yeah. Like as far as like structure is concerned,
Yeah.
like like in the grand scheme of like how the world works in human form,
Yeah.
this is how you should live, like by the clock, by money,
Mhm.
by systems.
Yep.
Yes, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like it's
Religion
religion. Yep.
would be one. It's like, what is it? It's like structure, but when I think of structure in that way, to me it's like restriction.
Yeah. Um, and I mean, it also depends on like where you are in the world because we're in North
Yep.
America and
Yep.
North America is like anal as fuck. Like we are like, we need to do this and earn this much money. And if you earn this much money, you're a good person. And if you're a good person, that means you've done right in the world. And it's like so financially driven and we're all guilty
Hmm.
of it because it's just
Hmm.
we have learned. Like if you go somewhere else in the world, like not in North America, it yes, this is everywhere, but it's not so intense. Like I find we are so intense here.
It's the same with education. Like if you don't get an education, you're not going anywhere in life. It's like that's not true.
Not true at all. And like I don't know off the top of my head, but I know this for a fact. Like I don't have names, but I know that you do not need an education to succeed. That
Yeah.
is like,
Yep.
and then I mean we can ask like what is success, but
Yep.
let's say if you're looking at success from like the traditional norms of,
Mhm.
I don't know, being like what would be like a normal job, um
Well, a lawyer.
a lawyer. Well, okay, so you do need school for that.
You
um
do. Oh,
but
you just mean like a regular.
like like let's say you're a manager or you're like higher up in a company, let's
Yeah.
just, you know like is that your, like what is success?
Status.
Like what
Yeah.
is success?
I think success looks different for everyone because success to me is just literally reaching goals. What are your goals? You
Right.
know? And
Mhm.
so some people's success is having like millions of dollars in RRSPs. So when they retire, they don't have to think about money or like to be debt free or to build a multi-million dollar company. And other people's success is literally getting up and surviving the day.
Yeah. But it's so interesting. It's like when and what
Yeah.
is us, what the
Yeah.
societal norms are, right?
Yeah.
It's your upbringing. It's what your parents knew. So if your parents lived very money scarcity, uh, that's probably been passed down to you. And unless that you've had like your own personal experience where you're like, I'm claiming to do something different, you're
Yeah.
probably gonna live, grow up and end up with like a scarcity mindset and like I better go work for like a company and do my 40 years and work my 40 hours and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
That's like how we've been indoctrinated to be like you're good
Yeah.
or go get like a really good job, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And like you said, like a lawyer, like that,
Mhm.
Like who decided what a good job is?
I know. One with benefits, one that you're on salary.
Mhm.
That's a good job, you know?
Yep,
Um, Probably one that does pension plans,
yep,
like because that to me means like and I'm not like bashing it at all, but when I see that, to me that is from a place of like not trusting, because if you trust the universe, you will always be taken care of. You don't have to make sure you have security blankets
I know. And
in
we,
place.
we've been told, we've been told over and over and over again. And if somebody was listening to this that doesn't have the understanding of the universe, God,
Yeah.
creator,
Yeah.
then you're probably gonna think we're nuts for talking about this. But
Yeah.
we have been told that like we are we are not taken care of. We are not okay. And you need to make sure you're okay. And only other people know how to do that for you.
Yes, which is
Only
backwards.
those people,
Hmm.
those better people, they know better than you. Like you're
Hmm.
stupid.
Hmm.
It's not said that way, but it is said that way subtly. It's like you
Yep.
better have a plan, is if you don't, you're gonna die, is like
Yeah.
that's like the energy behind all marketing and like all governments. And like we have to like take a minute to be like, okay, why would they be telling us this stuff?
Hmm.
Well, because if we listen, we don't fight back.
Yeah.
It is a game at the end of the day. We all have to abide by these rules, yes,
Hmm.
but like how much do you want to like feed into it,
Yeah,
right?
they don't have to run your life.
No, and it's for a lot of my life, like I didn't partake in this at all. And then I worked and I was in a relationship and my ex had a lot of money scarcity, like to the point where like I took it on. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, have I missed out on like what we're supposed to be scared of? Like, and it like but like
You just wait. That right there, what you just said, that is the reason. They want us to be in fear.
yes.
They want us to be scared.
Mhm.
And I love that. Have I missed out what I should be scared of?
That's how I felt, like honestly.
Yeah.
And and I and then I and now I have a lot more scared mindset than I ever used to. Like I used to
Hmm.
just like, I mean, mind you, I was on drugs, but like I didn't care. I was like, I didn't have a worry.
But
And it
that's how life should be.
should be like that. Like I had my own worries, but not about like, well, what's gonna happen? It's just like, well,
Yeah.
whatever. It's just whatever's gonna happen. Like I kind of just,
You're just like, woo,
yeah.
yeah, but that's literally how we're supposed to live in the present, because the future isn't actually real. The only thing that's real is now. We talk about this all the time. When we think that we need to plan for our future,
Mhm.
again, we feel like we need to know what is to come, right? I had a appointment with my financial advisor yesterday, and he's like, okay, like we kind of need a plan with, your next year. And I'm like, I don't have a plan.
Right.
Like, I don't know what this life is going to bring. I pray to God that my business blows up and it does amazing, and you know this and this. I pray to God that I get to build my house and my property, but like really, I don't know what the next 12 months are going to be. I can't tell you
Mhm.
what, it's like we're not supposed to have a plan.
I mean, I think having a plan is good in the sense of having an idea of what you want to do, having a goal, maybe
Yes. Yeah.
not a plan, having a goal, because
Yep.
the saying when you make a plan, God laughs is so true.
Yeah. They
And
they don't ever go that way.
no, and like like I do everything to the nth degree. So when I plan, I become the most anal retentive human being. Like I'm like, okay, but it has to go this way. And if it
Yeah.
doesn't, then like I freak out. So I
Yeah.
have
Have
to
a
just,
panic attack.
yeah. But like,
So
touch my pen, like, don't move my stuff. Like, it's not like, that's not part of the plan.
it's got to line up like this. I did a
Much.
little energy update yesterday about this because right now we are really learning how to relinquish control. And took some polls on my stories and I said, like, how do you feel about control? Like, are you someone who doesn't feel safe unless they're controlling everything? And every single person except one answered that.
I just actually answered your poll, and that was true for me too.
Yeah, that control, planning, needing to know, which are all of those things are literally impossible because we do not know what the next moment is going to bring in our life.
But
And
the thing is,
so
we're told
I know
that we're supposed to know. And so
that's, yes.
it gives you like, there's like, what's your 5-year plan? What's like, what are
Yeah.
you doing, when you're 75? It's
Yeah.
like, do you have your whatever, like where you're living at 75 organized? Like some of the things
Mm-hmm.
I have had conversations with people about, I'm like, no, I have no idea. And like that
Mm-hmm.
makes me scared.
Really?
No, I mean like thinking about where I'm living at 75.
Yeah. Like we shouldn't have to even think about it.
And it's like from one perspective, people can say, well, you should know so that you're fine. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think if you're really involved, I think if you don't work for yourself and you don't have other ways of income and you're literally working for somebody and you've got only them to rely on, that maybe is important. I really like,
Th-
in a
that
sense.
is that is a valid point, and that is also very 3D because if you are looking at it quantum, we are still manifesting that money in the 3D world, but we have the ability to manifest like money unexpectedly that will just flow into our life and we can't even understand where that's coming from. So
Yeah,
it almost like limits you
it does
in
limit.
my opinion because then you are projecting, like, you are emitting this frequency of this is all I make.
This is
This is all I live off of. And that will be true for your life, but that is so false. It's
mhm.
like you have the ability to have as much abundance in your life as you choose to let in. And this is where the programming really,
Well, like even having this conversation with you, I can
yeah,
feel the programming of society in my
yeah,
brain. Like
yeah,
it's like, and I can actually like hear, like if I can tap into like friends of mine that work, that are really like abide by the system,
mm-hmm,
patients, I can hear like their thought process. So it
mm-hmm,
would sound something like, yeah, but like this is how I make my money and I need
mm-hmm,
money to live. And like, and like the more you hear that, you're like, well, yeah, oh yeah, you do. And it like,
mm-hmm.
and then you're just in this fixed way of thinking and feeling. But
Yep,
it's like, yes, those things are true. And then you also have to be like, I am choosing surprise. I'm choosing different miracles. I'm
yep,
choosing to let go of control. Like I
yep,
understand there has to be income, but we're like, if you look at a garden,
yep,
there are so many tomatoes, right? If you look at the grass, there are so many pieces of grass or specks of sand. And
mm-hmm,
we are like, we have to remember that that is actually life.
yep,
And this other thing of like work 40 hours a week and 40 years of your life is a system. And,
yeah,
it's like you can play in that system and believe in it, or you can do your own thing.
yep.
You don't
It's
have
a
to
choice.
play in that. That is, if you want to play in that, but that's not the only way to live.
Yep, absolutely. And I think a lot of people are honestly scared to break away from it because it's all they've ever known. It's all that have made them feel safe in this life is to have security. And in order to walk in blind faith, in my opinion, is the most freeing way to live. And it's also the most abundant way to live because you actually allow yourself to be open to opportunity that you would have never seen coming if you had a plan. Now,
Yes.
blind faith is something that you have to learn to walk with.
Yes.
And that is the most challenging thing. It's like you have to be willing to take one step forward without seeing where your foot is going to be placed on the ground and trusting that there is solid ground underneath your foot when you do step. And that is throwing the plan out the window.
Yeah.
And allowing our inner compass to guide us down that path.
Okay, let's talk about this hypothetically. Let's pretend I'm gonna like tap into that scarcity mindset for a moment. So it's like, well, how would I make, how am I gonna live? Like, I'm gonna ask you these questions as if,
Okay, but like, how are you going to live as opposed to what?
like, if I'm just trusting blind faith, like, how do I earn money then?
Well, my first question would be, do you know other people that have followed their hearts and are successful in their businesses?
Yes.
Do you think that they have been dealt a lucky hand, or do you think it's because they have walked in blind faith?
Yeah. 100%.
So that opportunity that they have allowed themselves to take, you have the same opportunity. Everyone on this earth has the same opportunity. And it comes down to what is it that lights you up? I really truly believe that our purpose are the things that we're naturally good at.
Yes.
And our mentor would always say to us, you get paid for who you are, which is truth.
Mhm.
So, who are you and what are you really good at? Not what your parents told you that you should do when you graduate. You should go to secondary school and do something that you don't like.
Mhm.
What were you born with as a passion? And how can you develop that passion into something that could sustain a business?
Mhm.
You know, like
That makes it feel like work is not work, right? Like
yeah,
the word work to me from these systems makes me feel like I have to go hate 8 hours of my life.
that is so much truth. And I 100% agree with you.
That's awful. Like that
Yeah,
is not how it has to be.
I
Yes,
know.
there are some things we don't fully enjoy. I don't love like I have to clean dog diarrhea off of the carpet.
Nobody likes that.
I don't love it, but I love having my dog. So it's
Yeah.
okay, she got sick. I, you know,
Yeah.
do I love the fact that like my energy dips up and down? No, but that's just who I am. And if I have my own business and do what I love to create and am passionate about, I can work with my energy when it's up and down. I don't have to
Yep.
go like die every day to 8 to 10 hours. And I mean, I can speak to this from truth, and
Yep.
the, I am like right in this, right?
You are walking in the blind faith right
I
now,
am walking
literally.
in like I am walking in it. And it's so scary. And
Yeah.
the way it works is like, well, do you know one
Yeah.
step of the blind faith? Yes. I
Why
know
don't you walk us through it? So you were forced to leave your job.
I was forced to leave my job. Yes.
Okay, so you were forced to leave your job. Now, you were gifted a new opportunity.
Well, I was forced to leave my job. Let's like make this really tangible and like honest. So I was forced to leave my job, but I still am getting paid 85% of my wage. So I wasn't like left completely high and dry. But still, it's still cut wages.
Yep.
And
But so then you received the impulse to take hypnosis training.
Yes.
And this is what I'm talking about. When
Yes.
you step away from what you hate
Mhm.
and you just open yourself up and decide, I am open for new opportunities, show me the way.
Mhm.
You will get things falling into your experience
Mhm.
that you have the ability to say yes to. So you said yes to hypnosis training.
Mhm.
And now,
And now things are going really well in that direction.
and you're lit up by it.
Exactly. I'm lit up by it. I have clients. On
Yeah.
the weekend, I'm going to be working part-time at a place. You know,
Yeah.
it it's interesting. Like it's wild. That would never have happened
Mm-hmm.
because I would have closed my energy off. I think that's what happens is like this like logical 40 hours and like I can get so caught up in it because I'm like, oh yeah, like Jesus, we need to make all this, we have to make money. And I'm like, okay, I have to like literally do this. I'm like, okay, I put my like I'm like, stop.
Yep.
Take a friggin' deep breath. I am like, we are more than just this system of
Yeah.
40 hours, 40 years. Like that system is an indoctrination to its control.
Yeah.
And we get pulled in it thinking like that's life, reality.
Yeah.
No, it's
Mm-hmm.
not. It that is one reality you can choose to play in. But like,
Mm-hmm.
and when I'm like, okay, stop, Morgan, like just stop that, center yourself, drop into your heart. And I'm like, there's so many options. It's
Yeah.
wild how you can, it's wild. And
I
it's
think I think you really have to learn. I think the basis for me and the piece of advice that I would give is to really learn what is driving you. Is it your mind? Are you driven by, the what ifs or the question? Because if you're driven by the question, it's usually from a place of fear. And that is what is going to hold you back from being open to change. Right. And I really think it's differentiating between what feels maybe edgy, but feels inviting,
Mhm.
as opposed to what is keeping you there because you're scared to do anything else.
Yeah. You know, do you think the people that are the CEOs of these like big companies that employ these people, do you think
Mhm.
they followed the rules?
I don't know.
Probably not. I mean, if they did, they
I
wouldn't
don't
have
know.
like had a large company or like in order to have
You
like
would never move up.
you never get to play outside of the rules if you don't take risks, if you don't do things differently. Like the Fortune 500 companies or like just or even just like small entrepreneurs, like people, if you're
Yeah.
playing by the like, I have to be a good girl and I have to do my 40 hours for 40 years and like you're like literally never going to do anything else. That's all you're.
Well, and the first thing that came to my mind was if someone were to like speak the words, I'm never going to get out of debt. If I hear that, it makes my body contract because I know that that is not true. But when we believe that, we are going to live that experience. Like, if you believe that you are never going to evolve past this point, that is what your reality is going to show you. Like, you will not move.
Yep.
But if you even just decide, I am open to new opportunity, and you are willing to move through change, which is never comfortable, to give it a chance, you're going to see that you were never going to be led astray. It
Mhm.
is only going to get you better and better and better and better.
So something that I do every morning, uh,
Yep.
because I like, I am a hypnotist and I work with, I really do believe in the subconscious mind and I also do believe in God.
Yep.
So every morning when I wake up, um, the first thing I do is I put on subliminals,
Yep.
to have my subconscious here. Because so like when we go into hypnosis, we change our brain state from beta to alpha theta, which is just like a lower brain wave. And that's when your subconscious is receptive. Now, that's like more of like talking about the mind part, but like let's
Mhm.
talk about this energetically as well.
Mhm.
When you slow your brainwave down, I believe you also drop into your heart, which then connects you to God consciousness. So
Yeah.
that can be there. So if you receive subliminals in your heart and in an alpha theta state, yes, that does then connect your you as whatever
Mhm.
you are to the frequency of miracles or to the frequency of possibility. But if you're
Yeah.
waking up every day and the first thing you do is like go on Instagram or watch, and there's no shade, like I have to actively stop myself every day.
Yeah.
Or if
Yeah.
people watch the news when they first wake up or listen to the radio or put TV on, that program is going to go into your mind subconsciously, into your heart,
Mhm.
into your God consciousness, and tell you what you should be doing for the day. And like
Yep.
it's like this, you can
Yep.
use the program two ways. You can use what we have, which is this like beautiful energetic being with a mind and a soul and a body,
Mhm.
and use it for exciting miracles that could be uncomfortable because we're used to like wanting to, your mind, your ego wants to know what to do. Or we can switch it to the world is going to die and the planets are going to kill us and money is scarce and food is scarce and we are dying
Mhm.
all of cancer. Like
Yep.
you can choose. Every day you make the choice. It's like, do you want
Yeah.
to go down the road of death and like living a slow death, or do you want to go down the road of I'm just holding on to my panties and I'm here for the ride and I don't know, but it's going to be really exciting.
Do you know what it is? Nothing is ever as scary as we think it's going to be.
Yep.
The thought of doing is scarier than the actual doing of it. It's like, when you have a sticky situation and you have to have like a conversation that is scary, it's like the doing of the conversation is way easier than the thought before it happens.
Yes.
And that's how it always is. It's like, oh, I can't leave my job because what if I lose everything? What if I can't pay my bills? Like what if all ego,
Yeah.
right? All ego. It's like, but what if it's the best thing that has ever happened to you?
Yeah. Yeah. Like we look at it through that's such a lens of like, well, what if, and it's like doomsday, but
Yeah.
it's like never just that. And what I've learned through this process of like I don't have a plan. I've
Neither do
tried,
I.
I have tried to make a plan during this time. I'm like, well, what am I going to do in January when so my like finances are approved until January. I'm like, well, what am I going to do? And I've had all these like plans of what I'm going to do, and then I go to like take part in those plans. I don't want to get into it on this, but take part in those plans and I'm like, it doesn't feel right. And so I've just like,
No, but see, you've learned to listen to your inner compass.
yeah.
It doesn't feel right in my body. That is red flags.
Mhm.
That's like, oh, okay, this is resistance right here. And so then when you feel that, what is your like next step?
Take a deep breath and actively surrender.
Yes.
And like I have to actively surrender like sometimes 17 to 25 to 50 times a day. Sometimes I'm fine, but like this
Yeah.
past month, it's been like
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose my shit and I need to
Yeah.
surrender, surrender, surrender. And like
Yeah.
now I'm just like, I don't know. God, show me,
Yep.
okay? Show me, like make it so loud that I understand the message. I understand what to do.
Mhm.
And for right now, I understand that the message is like, don't go forward with what I wanted to do. Just like that's on pause. So we have to be able to listen, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes, so
Quiet the mind.
we listen, we often are like, okay, what's the answer? Sometimes the answer is, I don't know. And
Hmm.
we have to be We have to learn to get comfortable with that. If we
Yeah.
can we be comfortable with I don't know? I don't know does not mean you're never going to know. It doesn't mean that you're crazy or that you're stupid or anything. It just means that in this moment with what you have to work with, it doesn't feel right to do one thing or another thing. So can you just
Yep.
do anything?
I think one of the best pieces of information that I've cultivated is in the not knowing, I ask myself, well, am I safe today?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
to me, that has really allowed me to be able to surrender because, like, truth is, I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Never mind January, never mind next year. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yes, I want to meet the love of my life. And yes, I want to do this. And yes, I want to do this, but I don't know the pieces in between,
Hmm.
but am I safe today? Do I have what I need today?
Yes.
And we always have what we need. We always have what we need.
Let's talk about this internal safety, because this
Yeah.
is this is what I've had to learn. I'm learning, and what I've really, this is what this whole process has been teaching me of um leaving my, 6-figure job and leaning into blind faith.
Mm-hmm.
Internal safety, what does that mean? Because people are like, well, I need money to eat. Like, hello. And it's like, yes. And what do you have right now, today?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have food? If you don't have food, can you go to a food bank?
Yep.
If you can't go to a food, like, do you have a
What are
roof?
your options?
What are your options? I
Yeah.
feel like we make this so extreme, and it's like I have a
It
really bad,
is so true.
I have a really, really, really bad habit of being like you're gonna laugh, but I'll say to myself, well, what if you didn't have a roof over your head? How would you handle it then? And I will like go down a rabbit hole freaking out of like trying to prepare if I didn't have a roof over my head. And I'm like,
Okay, but
that's not
Morgan,
happening, Morgan. Like,
there
stop.
was a time in your life when you didn't have a roof over your head. Were you still okay then?
I almost somehow was like better. Like I just like I had more hope somehow.
Yeah. No,
Like,
but I'm just
it
saying,
can't
like,
get worse than this, you know?
it's so true though. Why do we do that to ourselves? Like, it's like we have a home, we have a vehicle, we have food in our home that could realistically probably last us X amount of time if something tragic happened.
Right.
But like realistically, that's not going to happen because we don't live in that reality. We don't dabble in that whole, worst case scenario. But if we did,
Yeah.
like, is it really as bad as our mind tells us it is? No. There's always options.
And there's like I think we forget, like there's other people, like we get in this like hole of like we are the only person in this universe and we are surviving and we are like in the woods with the bears. Like that's
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we have neighbors, we have family, we have friends. Like we are not actually as fucked as we like get the get like this in our mind. Like we make it so
Yeah.
dramatic of, and like I am calling myself out right on this because like me included,
Yeah.
I'm like, Morgan, you are. I'm like, yeah, but you don't have the $1 million home. I'm like, but do you have a home?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you even
Yeah.
want $1 million home? Or again, is that programming? I'm like,
Yeah.
what would I do if I had a 5-bedroom home? I wouldn't
You would have to clean it, and
want to do that.
no, you don't. You would need like 5 robot vacuums because
Right.
no, no, you don't want that.
Like just
But some people do.
fine.
And that's great. If that's your goal and that's what you want to work towards, then absolutely do it.
Yeah.
100,000% do it. It's like everyone has different dreams, but like, let's just talk about this for 1 second because have you ever watched the show Survivor?
Mhm.
We
Years ago.
can survive off the land.
Yes.
This earth has given us everything that we need to survive, but we have been programmed to believe that we need name brand clothes and we need plants in our house, you know, to be healthy, and we need like XYZ, when those are like thriving
Mhm.
materials, but to actually survive, we need food, water, heat, like it's basic.
Yeah.
So what is the worst case scenario here? Because you're not actually going to die if you lose all your money.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be the most humbling experience that has ever happened to you, and you're going to learn to appreciate everything that you actually do have.
Yeah.
So,
I really find, this relationship that I'm growing towards with internal safety of again, like you just said, the earth has everything we need. So I often bring myself to nature every day and I'm like, okay, how do I feel? Okay, I'm calmer, great. Okay, the earth grounds me. I have water, I have
yeah,
food. I'm financially okay right now.
yeah,
So how can I relax into the present moment to allow for life to show me that I'm thriving rather than that I'm just surviving. Like, oh my God, grip everything, hold this.
exactly.
And
Yep.
so you have to I mean, I am just on the beginning journey of my internal safety. I hope that I can come back a year from now. Well, I will not hope. I will be able to share this more in depth, but it's really understanding that like the systems that are at play and the programming is to make us feel like we are not safe.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you today or in this moment remind yourself that you are safe for what you do have and forget about you need $1 million house and you need to get a better job and you need to get a vaccine and you need to get all here's everything you need to feel better and so that you don't die. Like that
Yeah.
is all really at the end of the day, it's to take your power. Because
Yep.
if the government and the masses has control over you, then you pay your taxes, then you're a good citizen, then
Good Samaritan. Yep.
you do what you're supposed to do. And
Mm-hmm.
it's all control. And so how
Yep.
do you're never gonna fix that. That's never going to go away. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but I don't think it will. But like, how can you just take your sovereignty back, take your freedom
Yep.
back, right?
Yeah.
Like, are you safe right now? Because like safety to you and safety to me could look different,
Yep.
right?
So
And
true.
with success, like my idea of success is being able to financially provide for myself without having a boss.
Yep.
Um, in collaboration with others, being a household name around, teaching addiction or reminding people that we really can change in any major situation that we're in life, that we can always reinvent ourselves. Like
Mm-hmm.
that to me is success. That's what I am aligning myself with. But to you, that might not be it. And to somebody listening, it might be like what to you is success? And don't let the mass media tell you
Dictate that.
because that's what happens. And then we're like, oh, well, I better listen so that like I have this dream life. Like, not everybody wants a family. Not like we're told we
Yep.
should have a family, we should have kids, we should have this job, we should have this, but like, what do you want?
Yeah. What do you want?
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. Like, what do you want out of love?
Yep.
Not what do you want out of fear? What do you want out of love? What is it that lights you up?
Mhm.
What is your why? You know, why are you here?
Yep. And
It's huge.
if you don't know why you're here, that's okay.
Yeah.
I think there's like, if we want to talk quantum for a minute, there's a million reasons why we are here. But like in this moment, that scared me, that phone call. I had my phone on do not disturb. Like, how is someone calling me?
And so it's if one of your close friends, if they call you twice, it'll go through.
Yeah, I see that. What do you want? Like, what do you want right now? Like, there are a million possibilities what you can
Yeah.
have, right? And if you don't know what you want, that's okay. What do you hate? Start there and
These are
don't do
these
that.
are these are the people that I really love to work with, are the ones that don't really know,
Hmm.
because we get to relight that spark within them of, you know, really coming back to your heart space and remembering who you are and why you're here, you know, guiding you back to your purpose and like your highest aligned path.
Yeah.
There's families that I know that encourage their kids to go to secondary school, and when I have conversations with the kids and I'm like, well, you know, like, what do you want to do? And the kids are like, well, I don't know, I'm just going to go do this, this, and this. And it's like, it's okay that you don't know, in my opinion. And maybe like going away to do secondary school if you don't know is not the right timing, because you're never too old to change your course in life. You're never too old to go back to school. You're never too old to do something different. It's like, stop putting the time pressure on people and allow them to take a breather and live a little bit and experience who they are without telling them who they should be.
Hmm. There's like, we need a mic drop.
Because it just feels forced. And to me, forced is, that's not the way. That's not the way.
If if we all, you know, I'll just say this briefly. I am against regular school. If I had a child,
Mm-hmm.
I would never put my kid in the system. There is something that I believe that's called not school. And it's like, I haven't looked into this a lot because I don't have kids, but it's like sending your kids, like obviously you learn to read and write because those are obviously the way we communicate, but you learn practical things like how to build a home, how to understand money, like how it actually works, not this indoctrination, you know, that we've been put, that we get told
Mm-hmm.
in school to learn things a certain way. Like, and yeah, like if we were born into this world and we weren't put under the systems, who would you be?
Yeah.
Can we explore that? And like you said, you're never too old.
Yeah.
And you can just, like, I am taking my power back every day, every day, every day. I'm like learning more. I'm learning about like, you know, different ways to invest money or different ways to make money, or just because we're told one way. And if we don't follow that way, we're going to die. So
Yep.
that's not true though. That's not truth. That's just what we're told. And if you can remind yourself of that every day and just
Mm-hmm.
continue to educate yourself, I think that's really, really what's important. So I will come back and share, you know, what I keep learning, but
That's beautiful. I heard this quote or once, or somebody said something about, if you ever want to know what your kids should be when they grow up, just look at them when they're little. Like, what do they love? What are they good at? What are they passionate? Because that is their calling. That is their calling. And I was like, wow. Like, if you ask a child, what do you love? They're going to tell you right away. Kids know what they like and what they don't like.
yeah.
And, you know, like, there's like kids that are like naturally born singers, or like amazing at art, or obsessed with like trucks and, you know, that kind of thing, or animals. It's like, it's already built inside of you. And the more that you encourage them to follow their passions, that is the direction that they should be taking in life.
Mhm. I love that.
Like, what would have we done if were given that opportunity?
I'm
Where
just
would we be?
like, Jesus, what was I good at? I don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, and this is not like a pity, but unfortunately, I grew up in such a toxic household that like before I even had a chance to really flourish, like I was already being pounded with trauma. So
Yeah.
it's hard for me to even answer that question. I would say animals, like I'm really, really, really good with animals,
Yeah.
but I chose to utilize my trauma as the
Catalyst.
yeah, as a catalyst. But I chose the path of my trauma, but like not in a negative way. So I used that as, okay, well, all this shit happened. How can I use that to help others? So maybe
Yep.
that's what was supposed to happen. If I had no,
Oh, for sure.
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
You probably would end up on the same path, helping others.
Or maybe a vet or something like that.
Something with animals. Maybe one day you'll have like a animal rescue.
I'd love that.
Your big acreage in BC can
What about
rescue
you?
animals.
What would you have been?
I wanted to be a doctor,
Really?
a pediatrician.
Huh.
And
Well,
and now I'm like,
energy doctor.
yeah, I'm like being attuned to ACHF that is like insane, that literally heals anything. And I'm like, I am following my highest aligned path,
Yep.
which I think is and a mom. I wanted to be a mom, and I got to fulfill that dream too.
I never, I never have had the calling. I've always just wanted animals. Like I've never been like, oh, like the calling of like, I want to be a mom. I'm like, I can't say that I relate to that,
Yep.
which is weird.
Well, everyone, like, everyone's path is different.
Yeah.
And some people just, they don't have that nurturing like part to, birth children, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Just like other people's families like foster children, like it's like there's so many different types of families and people in this world, and we all play such an important role, and yours happens to be with pets and animals, which is beautiful.
Yep.
So
Again, I think it was so intense trauma that I never even like I was my mom's mom at such a young age that
mhm,
this like I don't know. I don't know if that's why I never
mhm,
felt called to be a mom or if that's just how I am. Like I don't know. I think I'd
yeah,
be a really good mom,
yeah,
but
you would be.
like I don't know. I'm just like I'm happy being a dog mom. I love
Mm,
animals
yeah.
and I want a horse again and I'm just really
Mhm.
happy with that.
Animals are incredible.
Mhm.
We definitely have our fair share here.
Yes, you do.
So there's that.
Is there anything else you want to share? I think this wraps us up
No, I feel really good about that conversation.
too.
Yeah.
What is like, how do you today relate to having an empowered heart?
What I'm working on currently is releasing control
Same.
in like the hats that I wear, like as a mom, as a caregiver, and that role is like, can I, loosen the grip and have more breathing room, which is challenging for me, but it's time. So, and to do like more pleasurable things for me.
Mhm.
What about you?
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's just like releasing control. I've realized that in order for my business to shoot higher than it has, I have to not have it planned. And I mean like I don't mean not have it planned, but I mean I have goals
Hmm.
and allow for creativity to flow through that because I
Hmm.
realized through this process of losing my job and not my plan not working out the way it was supposed to in my mind that I'm way too controlling and rigid as well and
Hmm.
that I have to just like we talked about internal safety right now, right here. What do I know? Okay, can that be good enough? Yes. What can I do today to take a step forward to what I want? And that's all we're doing. There's
Yep.
this, and I'm gonna plan this and this like that. Just forget it. Forget
Yep.
it. Drives you crazy. It drives anybody crazy.
Yeah. And for me, back in the day when I was micromanaging everything, if those plans went off the rails, I couldn't function.
Hmm.
I would go into like freeze mode. Well,
Wow.
now what? Now what do I do? And it was like it just like it was like my entire world would come crashing down, and learning really quickly that, oh yeah, like this is not serving us. So
I
then I
think,
went on the complete opposite end where I'm like, nope, I'm not making a plan tomorrow. We are just gonna see how it goes.
yeah.
And that feels really good.
I wonder how many people, there's got to be tons that live under the rigidity of it has to go this way
Yeah.
or else what? Like
Yeah.
what happened when COVID happened. Like that's a really good, like I thought that was quite, I mean, this is horrible to say, and there could be people that might give me the middle finger over this, but it was kind of entertaining. It was
Yeah.
just like, what is this now? There's just like this ridiculous shit show that like some people can go to work, others can't. You have to wear a mask, like all this nonsense. And
Yep.
if you can detach from how it affected you personally, it
Hmm.
really was nonsense. It's like, oh, there's like nobody, we're not allowed to leave our houses because we're gonna die. I was the only person on the highway. Somehow I could work. Like it was just like,
Hmm.
so things happen that are not part of our plan, and those things can be so magical. They
Hmm. Absolutely.
can be, it's gonna be devastating, but it's like, but like it could be really magical. You could win the lottery, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
You could. You got to buy a ticket, but you could win it.
you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
could, there's so many possibilities. I would never have ever been able to tell you that this was going to happen this year and that I was going to have to leave my work. I
Yep.
couldn't. I just am like, wow, like okay, every time I'm like, okay, you got to plan the next steps. I'm like, well, did you plan that step? How has this worked out for you? What do you like about this? It's
Yep.
my if you're scared shitless and you're going through something, can you focus and look at what you do like about the scenario?
Hmm.
Try that out.
Hmm. Yep. That's a good place. That's a good perspective. It lightens it instead of being focused on everything that we don't like. We can like shift the focus to, well, what is good about this? Like I actually enjoyed the COVID experience. It was like, well, now we get to just like hang out
Yeah.
and like make really good food and color and bake. And I was doing sourdough. I was on the sourdough wagon. Yeah.
Had to, I've stopped because I was to like get really fat.
So good though.
I was eating slices like this thick, like
Yeah.
2 inches thick.
Bread is so good though. Like bread and pasta. Those are my two. I could eat it every day.
Mm. Okay. I love you so much.
Okay. I love you too.
I'll
This is
see
a
you
great
next
conversation.
month.
Okay.